Kurt, tell me when you're ready. John, edit here. Hello. Welcome to how are you doing? I am Laredo Sammy down in Laredo/Austin, Texas. Over in Portland, Oregon, we have
Alison Anderson, also known as Ted Rosisi.
also known as Marquette Rosisi.
There you go.
Over in La Crosse, Wisconsin, God's country, we have the charming and dashing.
That's me, Kurt Reese. On Twitter, you can find me at Kurt Reese.
Nice, very nice. And our special guest tonight, or else we wouldn't be broadcasting on a Tuesday. But you know what? We might change it up. We might change it up while Kurt's gone, right, Allison? We might just podcast whenever we want to.
We're just going to give all the dirty secrets of Kurt Reese while he's gone. We'll just have a whole series.
Let's audition new people for Techlandia, just in case Kurt bolts on us.
Just replace me with Jeremy McDonald. That's all I ask.
Uh-oh. Replace you with who?
Replace me with Jeremy McDonald.
Technology. I looked over and I thought it was Jeremy in the hangout with us, but we have our special guest today coming to us straight out of Philly. The only person besides George Kuros that can call a special Techlandia and we will accept right away. We have Joe Mazza.
Hey everybody, how you doing? Yeah, I begged and pleaded to come on here, so I appreciate you making the time.
It took one Voxer message, and we said, okay.
I think you halfway mentioned it. Wait, I think Joe Mazza wants to do a Techlandia.
I know, it's like, oh, I can't wait to be done with Techlandia for a while. Oh wait, Joe called. Right,
that's exactly what happened.
Joe said the word Techlandia. Oh my God, let's do another one.
All right.
There's a lot going on tonight, and, these days with right before school year. So I definitely want to get some information out there so people can latch on this summer and definitely take a break, but definitely engage with colleagues.
Yeah. And on Twitter, you can find, if you're not already following Joe Mazza, he is a member of the _ Mafia. So Joe _ Mazza, M-A-Z-Z-A, and it's not Mazza, it's Mazza, rhymed with.
Gilpin loves to say Mazza, but
Who?
My
Never heard of him.
My grandpa said Mazza, so you go by what your grandpa says, right?
Absolutely.
Safe
well,
there.
if you wanted to get the word out, you came to the wrong place because here's our listeners right now. Okay. It's Joe Sanfilippo. So anyway, that's great. So yeah, there are some great things, and now I think that maybe I just came back up from Laredo, did a little training for them. Teachers seem a little bit refreshed. They seem like, okay, school's over. Here we go. We can start to kind of think about next year or just at least get a little jump on it. So Joe has some things to share that will help you. There's a lot of learning you can do over the summer. You know who I just actually Voxered with? Miss Victoria Olson. And she was telling me her schedule. She said, I'm going to take it real easy over the summer. I'm not going to do anything. And then she's like, I'm going here, 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 Rockstar this, Gave Summit that, ISTE this. And I thought, you Canadians, I don't know what your definition of slowing down is, but it's not going to 8 conferences over the summer. But that's Victoria for you. That's how she winds down. She goes to conferences and just rocks it, and that's what she does. So anyway, Joe, we wanted to know about PT Chat and PT Camp, so go ahead and lay it on us.
All right, good deal. So PT Chat, as you know, it's the Wednesday night parent-teacher conversation we've been having for the last 128, 29 Wednesdays. And this summer we're going to try something different. We're going to stop the actual formal 1-hour conversation that happens on Wednesday nights with respect to people's varying schedules. That be students or parents, teachers, administrators, community members. It's really hard to just kind of get everyone together, and we don't want people to have to stop their vacation or even think about stopping their vacation. To kind of join that conversation. And so what we're going to do is we're going to have something called PT Camp. And PT Camp is going to be 6 weeks long. It's going to start June 25th and end right at the beginning of August. We're going to use a couple different social media aside from Twitter to have these conversations. The big overarching conversation is going to be about the Beyond the Bake Sale book chat. If you haven't heard about that book, it's it's probably the homeschool partnership manual that's out there, that I would recommend in terms of a principal leading a school, teacher leaders, parent leaders really wanting to, engage in that partnership. It's 2007, so it's been around for a couple years. Ann Henderson and Karen Mapp are actually going to join us in this PT camp, leveraging these social media. So that kind of makes it real, makes it a little bit more exciting than just your typical, jigsaw book chat, that you have. So we'll be using Twitter. We'll be using that PT camp hashtag throughout the week. When somebody, reads something or connects with something that they'd like to share, they can certainly use that hashtag. But what makes this different is each week we're going to have a group on Voxer. So the first week, so far we've got about 63 people signed up. We're hoping to get to around 100 or so. We're going to cut it off there, because that's a lot of people, and we don't want to go overboard. Just trying this out. And again, this is a complete experiment. Could fall flat on its face. Could be over in the first 3 days. If it doesn't, go right. But we're definitely. It's the time to take a risk in terms of, evolving practices, involving some of these chats, innovating in this space. But if we have these people on Voxer each Wednesday, I'll reset the Vox, in terms of, all right, these are the 100 people that are here this Wednesday. These are the guiding questions we're going to be talking about, and then go. People, if you haven't used Voxer yet, it's one of those tools that's like a group text. You can, use your voice and share anything from 5 seconds to a minute to 2 minutes. Sometimes we are talking with a guy named Jeff Zoll, and he'll go on for 3 or 4 minutes. Joe Sanfilippo really enjoys that piece. So yeah, time's are ticking. So hearing someone's tone and empathy, understanding in their voice is kind of a neat thing in terms of beyond 140 characters. So it's also meant to show people how they can leverage this tool in their schools. Whether they're a school leader or teacher leader or part of a team or whatnot. So each week we'll be having a different conversation about different things, and that will reset every Wednesday in terms of the folks. So it's not all one big clump of conversations. We can kind of archive them week by week, because at the end of the day, what I'm going to do is really archive this as an audio piece. People can hear these conversations. We can archive them. Voxer allows you to put them on GarageBand, save them as MP3s and whatnot. The other tool we're going to use aside from Voxer is Apprenet, APPRENNET. And Apprenet is a new tool for me. It's something where you can start by submitting a video out to people in a certain group. So let's say there's 40 people that want to use Voxer, but there's another 30 people that aren't comfortable with Voxer yet. They would rather use something else, whether it's Twitter or blogs or this Apprenet tool. So again, this is all based on choice and having a couple different tools, not only to learn about the tools, but something that's user-friendly for you, John, is different from me and different from Kurt and different from Allison. So trying to respect that piece as well as the schedule. So Apprenet, I can put out a question, okay, we're talking about back to school night coming up. Tell me a little bit about how you're going to start building partnerships from the first night. And then people can then submit videos back articulating that. So it also, it works more on the soft skills. It works more beyond the blog, beyond the 140 characters, to allow you to submit a video. Other people within the Apprenet program will also be able to see those videos. So it's kind of like a peer review process. By watching something, whether it's on your phone or on your iPad or on your television, you'll be able to kind of, push on their ideas, give them feedback, steal some for yourself. And that's where I think we're going to see the most of Ann Henderson and Karen Mapp, because they're going to be able to watch videos and actually submit, their own feedback back and forth to folks that are, on this conversation, on this book chat from week to week. And then the final piece is blog. If you have a blog, you're welcome to blog about this, the courses, the modules, we're going to call them from week to week. Use that hashtag PTCamp. We'll also be taking the best blogs, the best Voxes, the best Apprenets, and curating those and sending out a report each week. So even if you're not officially and formally participating in the course, you're still going to get some benefit. We're going to be having all this input and all these resources archived every week for the rest of the Twitterverse, so to speak, around the world. So right now we've got people from Australia, people from Canada, all over the United States, people from the UK. When you're using a variety of tools and not just a 1-hour chat, with respect to people's time zones, anyone can participate at their leisure. They have a full 7 days to provide their input or push on ideas. So that's kind of an overview of what we're doing with PT Camp this summer, evolving it for those 6 weeks. and then mid-August we'll get back into getting ready for the back to school and whatnot, moving back away from using all those tools.
Joe, what are some of the topics that you have in mind for the discussions you're going to have?
So we're really going to go right through the book, Kurt. There's
Mhm.
4 parts of the book, and I think all of us are trying our best to create partnership schools versus come if you can schools versus fortress schools, and we're going to learn all about what partnership schools are and how to create them, how to provide shared partnership, with parents, with students, with teachers, with administrators, because personally, I've learned an awful lot in terms of homeschool partnerships through my dissertation process, through talking to people like Ann Henderson, Karen Mapp, Steve Constantino, reading that book, and then living it for 7 years as a principal and 5 other years as an assistant principal. But I didn't really know anything when I came out of school. I don't really remember any courses that really taught me how to build relationships with parents and not be fearful of that. So I think that there's an awful lot of conversation we can have. We can certainly help seasoned principals as well as the brand new principal who just got a job, is excited about that, and they're like, all right, family and community engagement, where the heck do I start? What should I be doing? So I think this is a really good, if you missed it, if you just don't feel confident in this area, you can certainly build some skills this summer. And the best part about it isn't the tools, it isn't the book, but it's the people that you're going to meet, and then when the 6 weeks is over, it's not like those conversations die. You can call on these people and they'll be friends by the time, the 6 weeks are over, to bounce ideas off of, to continue to have a virtual mentor. And for many of us, we had a mentor formally the first year of our leadership, and then it kind of fades away in some way, shape, or form. Social media gives us an opportunity to have mentors all the time.
Yeah. Will it just be educators, or will you have parents also involved in PT camp?
We've got it's open to anyone. No lockouts. You can't say you can't play. We've got several parent leaders a part of this. We've got teacher leaders, principals, superintendents, some folks from the National PTA. I'd love to get some students on as well. And we'll find a way to make that happen, because there's some areas of the book where it speaks about kids, and instead of talking about them, I want to leverage the tools and, all right, let's hear from them, or have them, lead off the week with the APRNet video, or lead off the week with the Vox, and we'll respond to that piece through the lens of the kid. It's so important that we include them and center our efforts around student learning.
Gosh, that sounds speaking like a lot. That sounds cool.
Speaking of kids, I got this really, really cute picture of this kid. Have you guys ever seen this? Oh my God, that is so cool.
I recognize that guy.
That is Kurt Reese with a boombox.
Not just any boombox.
Kurt, I'm sorry, Kurt, but this is awesome. I've been looking at this picture. It brings back so many good memories.
It's on my Facebook. It's on my Facebook page, so it's legal. That was my 10th birthday. Rocking the boombox that had cassette and 8-track. No, I didn't have double cassette.
No, it didn't have 8-track. You're not that old.
Yes, it did. Okay, so really? On the table you'll see my Men at Work cassette laying there. But then also, what was the cassette? Eddie Rabbit, I think was the 8-track that I had there. It's good stuff.
You had dual 8-track and cassette. I don't think I'm not old enough to have an 8-track.
Yeah.
It was just cassettes.
Eddie Rabbit, what did he sing, Kurt? Did he sing "Love a Rainy Night"?
Love a Rainy Night. It's good too.
There it is. Wow. Kurt Reese rocking the boombox. Well, that's Kurt. You were still too cool for school back then.
Yeah. Well, Joe made a good point. He said, by the time you're done with, PT camp, these people, may seem like friends, or not may seem like friends. They'll be like friends to you. And so that picture was shared in a Voxer thread that I'm in with Joe and some other people. And I don't know, we just got talking about the 80s, and we're just kind of being silly. But just that type of interaction, which is one that you might have over the lunch table, or having a beverage somewhere. But you can develop those kind of relationships online, and it's like true friendships. It isn't just in real life, because I think digital means right now are real life to a lot of people. So that's a good example of it.
That's cool. I think that Kurt, we should talk about what you and Ben Gilpin and I are talking about in our Voxer. Maybe we should bring up some of those topics.
We're sharing health tips. You know what? Sometimes when a man reaches a certain age, you have all these ailments and you're feeling like an old man. But you know what I learned on the Voxer this week. John Samuelson used to run. Man, that boy. You ran a 420 something mile. Is that true?
That's totally. It was a 430 something mile.
430.
Was that on your feet?
On my feet in Evanston at the Evanston Relays when I was a sophomore.
That's nice.
I finished dead last because I was running varsity.
You're an Evanston Township guy.
I'm an Oak Park guy, but we were running Evanston. Oh, that's like the mirror image of us. They had the same colors and everything. But yeah, I remember that one. My coach put me up as a sophomore, and I remember I just tried not to finish last really badly. And then it just, that's something for Compass to be said about competition. Then never ran that fast of a mile ever again. But I was trying not to finish last. I think I did though. So that's very. I like the. I was just when I was down in Laredo, I was talking with parents. I was giving them tips on how to be more transparent with the parents that they have, and we were going over social media, and we were going over the Dana Boyd book. But I was talking about you can leverage Vine as a tool to share with people. And you know what the funny thing was when I showed them Instagram, they had not heard of Instagram, and I said, "Oh, you have got to see Tim Lauer's Instagram feed." And so I showed them that, and I hooked up my phone and showed them Instagram. I said, "You could do this with your class very easily, and you know what happens when you share pictures like this throughout the day? Your parents love you." Because you're not hiding, they don't think you're hiding anything anymore. They know that you share at least 1 or 2 pictures a day, and they love you for it. That's all the parents want, is they want to just feel like they're one of the gang, really.
Right.
And I think that you should.
And I've shared this book before on Techlandia, but the book Open Leadership by Charlene Lee, and that's L-I is how Charlene spells her last name. It's a business-oriented book, but that's the whole point, is that you would use social media and other digital technologies just to share what's going on within your organization, whether you're sharing with your employees or whether you're sharing with your customers, because like John said, if you're open and you're transparent, that just leads to ultimate trustworthiness. You got to do it.
Yeah, I mean, that's a fear for a lot of leaders. I had it myself, in terms of how much information should I share, and is this something that I should only be keeping to myself and this and that. And I think that it's really hard to kind of have that the second you walk in. I think you've got to, learn, and sometimes you get burned when you're learning and whatnot. But if you take the learner mindset instead of the I know it all mindset, and help your parents understand your vision, and what your approach is, and find good parent leaders, and that's been the piece. You can't do it yourself, and you've got to have someone at the, in the community, at church, on the soccer sidelines, talking up your school, talking up everything that you and your teachers and your students are doing. And that transparency, that's what I love about social media the most. It just almost demands it. It demands transparency, and we need to evolve to be comfortable with that, and to share everything. And just like someone was saying earlier, there's no excuse to get to the dinner table now and not have 10 things that you knew your kid did during the school day. Mm-hmm. With everything that we can be sharing on a daily basis. That what did you do in school today? It's we have plenty of opportunity to make sure that we're equipping parents with everything student learning that they can handle, and giving them some ideas on how they can kind of embed those things at home.
Yeah, I've got just an Instagram tools question. Can you have multiple accounts on one Instagram app? Because that's what I like about Twitter, is you can have multiple.
I'd love to know the answer to that, because I haven't seen that one yet in the mobile app.
I haven't tried to make that because I don't have a classroom anymore, or else I might have tried to make a classroom account. It is in the Twitter app.
I would love to do that for my school, because I like Instagram, and I know I have lots of students and parents involved. But I'm not comfortable having photos of kids at my school, and then 2 photos later I've got my favorite craft beer that I'm really enjoying. And I'm fine absolutely with sharing that on my personal account, but I just don't think it's good to here's a picture of a cute preschooler playing in the the sandbox, and then boom, Stone IPA. That just doesn't quite work. So I wish they would do that.
Allison's our Instagram expert, so she'll be on that right now. She's looking right now. I can tell.
I used to tweet from our school Instagram. I'll have to figure that out.
Okay, Allison is on it right now because she knows Instagram backwards and forwards.
I used to post from Instagram, but.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I really think that the other app that I shared that's really good is Vine as well. Vine is, if used properly, Vine you can shut off so it doesn't automatically post to Vine or Twitter. You have that easy jump editing thing that you can do for 6 seconds. You can make kids make the greatest videos with those because they can make little even time-lapse things, and if you don't share it, it just saves to the camera roll, and once you've got it in your phone or iPad camera roll, you can share it out to wherever you need to share it to once it's in the camera roll. I also told them, there's the other thing I told them, and this is just me being mean, but they thought this was a great topic because they were, in Laredo, they said, well, what if they don't have permission to share their faces or whatever? And I said, this is what I do. I count up all those the little papers that we would get where they say yes or no. I find the 2 or 3 kids that have the no on there, and I try and contact their parents first. And if I can't get a hold of them, the next thing I would do, let's say that Kurt and Allison were in my class and Allison hadn't turned in her permission slip, I take a nice picture of Kurt and Allison, best friends, and then I take the Blur app and I blur out Allison's face and I share it with everybody, and they're like, hey, wait a second, why is her face well, you didn't sign the permission slip. I have to blur out the face. And then I'll tell you, you get the last 2 permission slips in a second. Because I said, yeah, this is the kind of stuff that we're going to share out. So there's little tricks you can do. I know that I'm a little bit meaner because that's my 18 years of teaching going, but that's how I always, and then once you have the whole class in with their permission slips, you can share out whatever you want. And the more the parents see that you're just using them like that, the more they are like, yeah, why wouldn't we do this? It's awesome.
Especially when they realize, this is a great way where I can share photos with grandma and grandpa through social media, just so they see what's going on. And even my school's Facebook page is like the favorite thing that I do. I don't share kid names. I just say first grader, or maybe we'll mention a first name, but for the most part I don't. Because parents recognize their kid right away, though.
Right, and sometimes you have those kids that with blended families going on, or that really don't want their kid's picture on there, and so it's 1 or 2. So you just those aren't the ones you post for the public to see.
Yeah.
Or they're far enough. Like one time I had to be on the top of the gym roof, and when I took the picture of all the kids playing on the playground,
I remember that one.
You couldn't see any faces anyway, so it was good. I was afraid I was going to fall through the roof, but other than that, it was all good.
Joe Sanfilippo and I had this Moxer conversation here recently. He was going to go Crickets. He was gonna talk to a group of superintendents here in Wisconsin, as part of a social media kind of class. And the conversation we had was, you have 12-year-old kids in your school district that are tweeting more, Instagramming more, and Facebooking more about your school district than the average administrator will. And so who do you want telling your story? A 6th grader, or someone who really sees the big picture of your school district?
Right. It's cool. Okay, now speaking of big picture, Joe, this is our lead-in. Segue. I hear big picture. Tell us about EdCamp USA, which just happened last Friday. Is that correct? Was it just this past Friday?
Yeah.
Okay, I would love to hear about EdCamp USA.
I actually did not get chosen to get a ticket. So I was on the wait list. And I guess about a month ago, I got an email saying that someone had decided they could not come, and I found out, even though she won't admit it, Dana Saradiak, one of our PT chat mods, she couldn't make it, and hours later after she said that, I got my email. So I'm thinking it was her, and I'm very gracious, of her. Actually, when Arnie Duncan came in during the first hour of EdCamp USA to kind of check on the board, Kristen Swanson was explaining how this worked and that worked, and I'm standing right next to him, and I dialed up Dana so I could hand her I was going to hand him the phone and just say, hey, I wanted to meet you. But unfortunately, you couldn't be here. But she didn't pick up. She was teaching. She had kids at that time. So
yeah, sometimes those teachers have to teach.
Yeah, it's hard to get days, and I don't know how many principals would not have approved an Ed Camp USA to go to the Department of Education, one of their teachers. I think that would be a huge edu-win for the school and for that teacher, but she couldn't make it. So it was a great day. We came down Thursday night, and got to see a whole bunch of people that I've seen at conferences, met before, heard them speak. But there was probably another 50 people there that I'd never met before, and that was pretty cool to kind of meet some people around the country. Other than the people that you see their Twitter handle and exactly who they are. You've conversed with them, you'd learn from them, so on and so forth. But I found myself really trying to get to know people that I've never heard of.
Like Tom Murray. You ever heard of Tom Murray before?
No.
Have you heard of Whisk Principal?
Is he a parent?
Tom Murray. He was there was a picture of you and Arnie, and Tom was the one holding up Arnie on the other side.
Oh, that was who that it was? Okay.
Yeah.
I did meet him there.
I heard he knows what he's talking about.
He well, I don't know. He just didn't shut up the whole time I was with him. So no, I love Tom.
And on Twitter, that's Thomas C. Murray.
Thomas C. for Clementine Murray. You got it. But I think the conversations were really, I've been to ed camps before, and the conversations are really about, different pieces in terms of helping your teaching, learning, and leadership when you get back to, to work on Monday, or so to speak, if the ed camp's on Saturday. I really found that a lot of these conversations were geared toward educational reform, were geared toward policy. Right where the topics need to be for an event like that. So I think on the doc there, I put definitely follow Emily Davis, and she's at Emily Davis for EDU. She was the Department of Education intern who really was there all day, ran things, make sure it went smoothly, got different policymakers from upstairs to come down during various sessions throughout the day. So now that the department knows what Ed Camp is, they've had one. I think the momentum on Ed Camp Special Ed got started there as well. There were some people talking about doing things like that. I thought it was a really, really good first effort. In terms of welcoming this in, it's obviously something that has gained an awful lot of respect and momentum. I think there's been over 500 Ed Camps around the world now in just 4 years. The very first one starting at Ed Camp Philly, and it's just powerful stuff, and I don't think it's limited to teachers. It's school leaders, parents, students. We're talking. That was one of the sessions I didn't get to. I wanted to is, how do we create student ed camps at our school in our classrooms regularly? Not just this big event that we look forward to all year. So there's only 100 people there, so you can only have so many sessions and whatnot. But you just felt all day like you're in something that was just powerful. Something that was, you have this timeline of evolution, hopefully, of your educational system and how we see professional development. And you hope that 20, 30 years down the road, all of us are sitting around and we see that hash mark on the timeline that said June 6, 2014, Ed Camp USA at the department. And you hope that there was input there that has made its way to meetings, and they're looking through a slightly different lens now. And I think if we have those regularly, if before policies are created, we have certain ed camps to crowdsource from educators that lens and that point of view, and bring students into the equation. Have all these lenses at these different ed camps, and I think that we can have more informed decisions than where they are right now in terms of policy, adoptions and whatnot. So I think there's an awful lot of ideas. There's a new post coming out every day, and hopefully everybody's kind of sharing those and retweeting those because that's what all of us need to do. Anyone that was there, they need to share their own takeaways because all of ours are different.
Yeah, you talked about people just understanding what ed camps are. We're trying to do an ed camp here in Southwest Wisconsin. There's never been one over here. So I talked to my superintendent about possibly hosting, and I thought I would have to explain what an ed camp is. So I talked to him briefly and just said, we want to do an ed camp. He goes, oh yeah, I've heard of those. One of my superintendent friends on another side of the state has done one. Yeah, totally, let's do it. I mean, he didn't quite understand what it was. But he just knew it was a very positive thing, and he said, "Totally, we'll host it. No charge to the group that's pulling it together." And I was very happy about that.
That's great. That's great. This past month's Ed Leadership magazine, ASCD, has a 5-page spread on Ed Camp. So it's a good resource to put in his hands. And Ed Camp leader, as Kurt, I'm going to see you at later this summer in Philadelphia. Are you coming to that?
I'm not. No, sorry.
You're not. I thought you were.
Leave Wisconsin.
I totally missed that.
No, I've got too many other trips. I'll headed on vacation here for a couple weeks, and then I've got to go to Kentucky for grad school, so I won't make it.
Yeah, totally.
But I know
totally
you got some cool people going with you, so you'll learn a lot.
He only goes to Ireland and Wisconsin. Those are his two, and Kentucky.
And Kentucky.
So
it's not terrible. I mean, not terrible.
Can I ask you, Joe, real quick? I can't let you mention Arnie Duncan like that without getting in at least one shot. Did he understand the board and say, wait, I choose? Was he trying to pick up teams to play basketball with? Did he understand that we were really talking about issues, or was he trying to choose up some teams and take people out to the basketball court? All right, thank you very much.
Yeah, don't.
Sorry.
I've certainly been to my share of conferences, where there's a video. There's no real Arnie. There's a video that comes in 2 to 3 minutes long, welcoming everyone, thanking you for your work. But it's nice that he was there personally, and he'd obviously delegated the space, the time, personnel to be there during the day. I can't say anything bad, about the secretary in terms of this piece. I think just welcoming this. Progressive effort into the door, and obviously it means something, or they wouldn't have taken the time to host it. His questions were about, how does this work? How long are the sessions? Who leads them? How did everybody get here? Wait a minute, this doesn't cost any money.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
Yeah, right. He doesn't really. That's what I thought. He doesn't really grasp it. But do you think by the end of the day that he actually kind of got a little bit of a grasp of it then, and what it was about? Did he understand the magnitude of kind of what had been done, like with the 500? Did Kristen get enough of time with him to explain that this is how it goes, so he actually could now say, hey, this is an ed camp and I know what it is, and could kind of jump in a little bit, you think?
I think Emily Davis, who I mentioned before, he was not there at the end. Okay. That was the SmackDown. That would have been a great opportunity to kind of say, okay, now, since the last time you're here, this is everything that happened. These are the conversations. This is the powerful piece. But hopefully these blogs, we're going to make some videos, some audio feeds in terms of takeaways, real takeaways, things that we can use in the classroom this week, next week, next year. Those are the things that we need to kind of differentiate and make sure that he does hear. He does see that. If he missed the SmackDown, we need to make the SmackDown come to him, so to speak, just like we look at, really engaging families. If they're not here to see some of these things, then, we need to kind of differentiate our efforts to make sure that, we can use, and I think everybody there is capable of using media, to make sure that happens. So that's why blogging is really important right now. These conversations that, need to continue. We need to put another Ed Camp USA on the calendar now and start thinking about, all right, what people there. I don't want to go next year. I want as many other people can possibly go. I don't think it should be the same reunion of 100 people. I think there was some diversity lacking in the 100 people, so I think we should, make sure we're not only by color but by geographical location. And if there's somebody that can't afford to get there, we need to find a way to get them there.
Right, get a little scholarship or something. I did hear some people say that it seemed like they thought it was a lottery, but it seemed like a lot of people were chosen by the number of Twitter followers they had, which always seems to be the case. But I think that that's right. I think that maybe the people who are the people that started the original Ed Camp Philly besides Kristen Swanson? Do you know, Joe?
Whole list here. I don't want to forget anybody. Hang on, give me a second.
I know that's what I don't want to forget anybody either, because we always talk about Kristen because I've met Kristen in person and then I think she's terrific. But I don't want to slight any of those other people. But other people were not.
There's a picture. They all got their picture taken.
Okay.
Here they are. It looks like Mary Beth Hertz, Mike Ritzius,
Yes.
Hadley Ferguson. Where they at? The rest of them.
Okay. But yeah, we don't mean to slight them. I'm just on. I've been up since 3:30 a.m. So they're escaping. I can picture people, but I can't. I don't want to leave anybody out because I have met Kristen and Kristen's awesome. So we love Kristen. So tell us a little bit more about. So who decided to do Ed Camp Leader then, and where's that going to be held on August 4th?
So it's going to be at the University of Pennsylvania's Graduate School of Education, the doctoral program I graduated from, and I continue to support the mid-career doctoral program in educational leadership. We are going to be hosting it. That'll be August 4th. It is at 300 max. That's sold out. Sold out, such a funny word when it's a free event, right? But in 6 days, that was full, and we just went through. We've been getting people off the waiting list the last couple of days. We had, we're asking people to reconfirm this week. So we had 17 people say, "Hey, something's come up. I can't make it. No worries." We've got 93 people on the wait list. So hopefully we can get some more of those folks involved to come. 300 is due to space. We really can't have many more people due to the to the regulations at Penn. In that space, but we're really looking forward to having people come. There's 8 different states represented right now, so looking forward to hosting those folks. This is for school leaders, for teacher leaders, for parent leaders. It's really going to be about leadership, during that day and preparing for the school year ahead. I think it's going to be an excellent day, and I'm hoping that we can stream sessions. For people outside of that 300 that can't make it. We've been working with a couple different vendors trying to get something reasonable, because it is astronomical how much it costs to get an event streamed. We're still working on that part. I really want to at least capture something. We're trying originally to get Google Glass and have somebody with Glass in every session to be able to kind of have more controls by the user and be like, okay, click here, click here, click here, but from what we're hearing, Glass isn't quite ready for that high voltage use of the streaming. Plus, your battery only lasts about 2 hours. So you can ride there.
And I know it sounds like there's a pretty good contingent of people coming out from the Midwest. I think Tom Whitford is going to go there. Is Joe Sanfilippo, was he on the way out there too?
Sanfilippo, yep, he'll be there.
Yep.
Aaron Becker. Casas, Aaron Becker, Jeff Zoll, Gilpin. So it's a good crew.
Watch out for Gilpin when you see him. Gilpin's a troublemaker.
Yes. I know it. Okay. It's amazing how close you get with these people once you get on Voxer.
That's right.
And really start listening to them and picking up on their inside jokes. Ben doesn't even have to make a joke to make a joke. That's one of the things that we have about him. But he's all great guys that I've come to know and love and appreciate, and kind of. You need that support group, to pull you up when things aren't going so well, and to push you down when you think things are going too well, right?
Right.
So it's it's a good crew.
Yeah. So there's some hashtags to follow on Twitter in regard to all of these. EdCamp Leader is EdCamp, then LDR, and that's coming up on August 4th, and then from the University of Pennsylvania Education, so it's Penn Ed Chat, and our good friend who's been on Techlandia, but then someone who I connect with a lot on Voxers, Tony Sinanis, he's entering. There's a huge light at the end of the tunnel for his doctoral work. So, Tony, you're almost done.
Tony,
keep on that.
I'm actually on his committee for his dissertation, and that's really exciting too. Not only be on someone's committee that and their work, but also to kind of see how far he's come. He's halfway through the program now, more than halfway. This is his last year coming up, and he was one of the students that helped us get that hashtag started, hashtag PennEdChat. And for the last year, every month we've been partnering with a different professional association, whether that be NASSP, NAIS, ASCD. This Saturday, actually coming up at 8:30 Eastern. After SatChat we're going to be partnered with NAESP to have PennEdChat about early childhood education. And every month we partner with an association about a certain topic, and we just have these conversations. We engage our students, but it's really open to anyone in the world, awake at that time. It's pretty powerful to connect with the associations, people that maybe missed the Sat Chat, it's too late, but they don't want to wait for Sat Chat. West Coast. So it's a great conversation. You guys can all join us. I know, Kurt, you have joined us in the past, so appreciate it.
You could get Craig Yen, who wakes up at like 5 a.m. and does Sat Chat and then does Sat Chat West Coast. He does both of them because he's a chat fiend. Craig Yen.
He's dedicated.
I know Craig. Yeah,
He's
Craig was on the one night we did. What is it? The two gals of the podcast.
You're talking about the Lady Geeks?
Yeah. Yes, the Lady Geeks. Yeah, he was tweeting up a storm. Yeah, back to Ed Camp Leader. We're actually going to have 3 different pieces. We're gonna the morning during the board process. We're gonna have Sat Chat on the air live, just kind of emceeing that piece. In the middle of the day, the Lady Geeks are gonna do their a lunchtime conversation, kind of like a radio show, so to speak, at Ed Camp Leader. And the last piece, the SmackDown, I'm hoping that Sanfilippo and Sinanis can kind of take that and run with it, because they're good guys to wrap things up and head off to the after hour.
Yeah, those guys are closers for sure. Those guys are closers. Watch out for those Lady Geeks, though. Those if they're doing a discussion, watch out for them. That's all I got to say. Those two are trouble with a capital T.
Very, very talented. Very talented. I enjoy their work.
It also starts with T. Yeah, trouble and talented.
They're trouble talented. And so I want to. I've heard a lot of people talking about the Voxer lately too, and I want to say that I haven't been on the. I have to confess, I haven't been on the Twitters that much in the last week and a half or 2 weeks or so. But Joe, were you the person that brought up Voxers and has been blogging about it or talking about it a little bit more? Because I've noticed kind of some other people are starting to kind of catch up.
I think there was a session at Camp USA.
Yeah, so we did a let's see, I've been on it, Kurt, 8 weeks, 9 weeks, something. It can't be more than that though, about 2 months. Tom Whitford invited me into a conversation with a bunch of guys I respect very much, and so that's where I started about 2 months ago. And we just started using it to just chat with one another, share stories, ideas, really to plan our get-together come Ed Camp Leader with all those people, coming into town. We're going to, definitely plan some time to explore the city and catch a couple cheesesteaks, so on and so forth. But then you start to envision ways that you can use it in your school, with your teams and with leadership teams, and then with the chats, so now our PT chat mods during the week will talk about the topic and what we want to make sure that, comes across in the chat, and we'll plan it that way. We've planned the PT camp that way. We've planned a variety of other things, in this particular way. I just met the brand new cohort at Penn this past Saturday, and that was one of the first things I shared with them. Hey, they're all in 5 teams of 5. Voxer's a great way to kind of make your time yours, on demand podcasting, personally speaking. I definitely wasn't the first educator on it, but I blogged about it. I've been using it. We've been using a hashtag EduVoxers. Principal Steger threw together a quick Google Doc.
Yeah, that list is incredible.
There's got to be over 200 people on there now or something like that. But, we did a session at Ed Camp Philly on it. We did a session at Ed Camp USA last week on it. Just trying to spread the word. I think that, soft skills are important. We cannot discount that, and DMing is great on Twitter, but why DM when you can Vox?
Especially
building those soft skills, hearing someone articulate something. I learn a lot more from that than I do a DM. So there may be some days I'm not on Voxer at all, or maybe I've got 300 to catch up on, and in the car ride is kind of like the biggest time for me to kind of check that and respond back and forth.
Yeah. So I've been using Voxer for exactly a year, because I went and I did a workshop for Naomi Harm, who's fantastic, and we went out for dinner, and some people were using Voxer, and I just said, "What is that?" And it's just a fantastic tool.
You hear the chirp, and you're like, "Yeah, dude, you got a Nextel?"
Well, I've been using it for 3 years, because it was kind of like when you take that Nextel function away, we went to cell phones and didn't really, that was such a useful thing, but actually now, today in Oregon, we had a horrible, there's a safety use where if you have, I mean, as a teacher, I know I always have my iPhone with me, no matter where I go. So if all the teachers in your school have Voxer, that's a free way to make sure everybody has basically a walkie-talkie in a situation where you're in lockdown or something like that.
Right.
So
Right.
a kind of a sobering use, but really,
It's been out there. Well, we appreciate you blogging about it because I was going to say we need to get more people. Joe, you need to blog about Techlandia then because we're on Techlandia 67. I bet we talked on it. It was either Allison or Kurt shared it as one of their apps, probably like almost a year ago. Probably when
I thought it would be a great. I made Brandon put it on his phone about 3 or 4 years ago so that I could just, instead of texting him, I could just say, "Could you go do this?"
That's right.
Go pick up the kids right now. It comes across much better as a voice than a text.
Now.
See, I think that's what Dean Shareski needs so that his wife can tell him to go on more errands. That's what he needs the Voxer so that she can go. No, Dean, not those. The large eggs, not with the crack.
Like you said, Joe, when you hear people's voices, you get to know them so much quicker and know their inside jokes and feel much more like you actually know them.
Yeah, I think it's good. Don't you always think that way though? Like when I was a teacher and I had
West. Hello?
You guys are talking. Yeah. You guys are talking over top of each other.
I think that when you want to go through and Okay, I'm on delay. Sorry.
Yeah, that's I think.
All right, Joe. Joe, go ahead and give us your Twitter users then, so I'm not talking over the top of you because my feed is all whack right now. So go ahead and give us.
All right. So I already talked about Emily Davis for EDU. Emily Davis for EDU. She was the Department of Education intern that was really instrumental in making the EdCamp USA happen. So definitely follow her. Definitely, I think that she's going to be instrumental in making a lot more happen in the future. And she's also, Arnie, excuse me while I plug in here. She's Arnie's direct contact in terms of, articulating, what came out of this, what can we pull from this, to make it work, so to speak, excuse me, sorry.
As he plugs in there.
The longer you have these Mac batteries, they go. So I had a full battery when I started, and I thought that would last, and now I'm down to 8%. Something's wrong.
It's a Google Hangout.
Something's wrong. Yeah, something's wrong. All right, Glenn Robbins, another guy. He's on our EdCamp leader organization team. He was at EdCamp USA. He came to one of our parent camps a couple years ago at Knapp Elementary School when I was the principal there. Great guy, principal, definitely a must follow. And he is at Glenn R. Like, are you going to the mall later on? Glenn R. 1809. He's a New Jersey educator. Another one, Jen Botso-Jorns. Jen is actually in Tony's class, Tony Sinanis' class at Penn. She is a assistant superintendent up in Vermont. She traveled to Alaska with us. She is at Jen, JenCesuvt. So follow her. And talk about that. We were in Alaska last week before we got to D.C. For EdCamp USA, and we were at Alaska presenting our trip to Finland last year. We were in Finland for about a week studying through the lens of students, parents, teachers, principals, and the #1 rated Finnish educational system. We learned a little bit about all the teacher autonomy that's going on there and differences in culture that we don't have here. It's apples to oranges for an awful lot of things, but in terms of leveraging social media in the actual Finnish classrooms and communicating in real time back here to the United States and all over the world, and even some other schools up in some more suburban, rural areas of Finland, was really powerful. So our presentation was through our doctoral program, mid-career doctoral program at Leadership, about how higher ed classrooms can leverage social media on a daily basis. There are so many things we're doing in K-12, but I think that the higher ed piece is a little slower moving in the evolution of the classroom of teaching and learning. So this conference was not only educators, but it was every field, department, college of liberal arts and communications and languages from all over the world. So there was 40 different countries there, people from all over. We met a ton of great people. You can see the tweets from that conference at Heatle 14, Hetle 14. We're actually going to have a virtual SmackDown Thursday night at 7 p.m. Eastern on Heatle 14, that hashtag. So if anyone is listening that's has a passion for higher ed or wants to learn about that, we'll be discussing that on Thursday night from everyone's back in their hometowns.
Very cool.
Other one I have is Dr. Deb Bateman. She was an Australian educator that I met at Heatle 14. I meet more and more Australian educators, and I'm just really always so inspired and impressed by them. They just are very selfless with their sharing. They take things and run with them, and their time zone actually works for us sometimes, being 14 hours ahead. Working on different projects and whatnot. But I connected with her at Heatle. Definitely must follow. Oz PT Chat just started last week. It's the Australian version of PT Chat. It happens at a time that's much more reasonable for them. The PT Chat was at 11 a.m. their time. Now they can have it kind of their evening time like we do. A lot of our chats in the evenings. The last follow is MCDPEL, the Mid-Career Doctor Program in Educational Leadership. That's the department I work at the University of Pennsylvania. And really our goal is to create leaders that think innovatively every day. Whether that's using technology or not using technology, but we're always challenging, reflecting, challenging the status quo, taking an inquiry stance, on everything we do, and it's really, I've made a lot of friends there. I've certainly been able to travel the last couple of years to different places to study through the program. We'll continue to do that as well. I'm hoping that Tony and Jen choose a great country to travel to next year to do some studying. So those are my 5.
Very good. I like that. Well, I think I need to follow all those people.
I had 5 more, but Kurt made me slash them. They're all Philly-based.
We had to kind of back. There's lots of great Philly people.
That's awesome. Well, I'm glad to know that Arnie Duncan has an aide that at least is in tune and can explain what's going on to him. That's good. I'll definitely follow Emily. If she doesn't know me from my tweets at Arnie Duncan, I'm sure she tweets from his account. So she might know who I am if she actually looks at some of my tweets to Arnie. So let's go Philly cheesesteak. Kurt, go ahead and give Joe some hardcore Philly trivia. Go for it, Kurt. You're almost ready to go.
Now this is, you can't get this question wrong, but all right. So if you're going to Philadelphia, Joe, so say someone's going to Ed Camp later. What are some of the what are the absolute must that they have to do as a tourist? What are you going to do when you're in Philadelphia?
Wow. I mean, you can do the Liberty Bell. You can go see where the Declaration of Independence was signed. You can certainly have yourself a cheesesteak. In the city of Philly, you really can't go wrong with a cheesesteak. So I'll probably get fried by a bunch of my Philly friends here, but I have not had a bad cheesesteak in the city. Whether you go to Pat's or Gino's or Steve's or Jim's, you can't go wrong.
Are they all just first names? How do you keep them all straight? Gino's,
the reason
Pat, Jim,
Steve. In like Wisconsin is because it's the bread that makes the sandwich. We can make great steak and cheese anywhere, but I think the bread is different because of the water. So I wouldn't try cheesesteaks in another state or another area and expect it to be good. Gino's and Pat's they're across the street from each other. And I think that's kind of like a touristy thing. They show it on, Monday Night Football. They'll show a picture of Pat's and Gino's just because it's all lit up. That they obviously market that, like that they're the only 2 places to go. But my dad likes Pat's. I don't know. There's a Steve Steaks up here in the Northeast. My wife really likes that one, so I've come to like them as well. But anything with steak and bread and fried onions and cheese is fine with me. I'll eat it all.
Just find some guys with first name. Just Steve, right. Dave's, Kurt. Doesn't matter.
Olaf.
Olaf.
But definitely run up the Rocky Stairs at the Art Museum. I think that's a pretty cool thing. My wife and I lived down there before we got married. We got married in the Art Museum area, about 2 blocks from those stairs. And people use that for cardio. You see before work, after work, on the weekends, he'll be running up and down those stairs at 100, 200 a clip. So that's kind of a cool thing. Going back to the Rocky movies, his statue's right at the base of the stairs. Definitely a cool Philly thing to do. But it's a beautiful city, very walkable city. A lot of museums, a lot of places to walk around, shop, take some great pictures. So, yeah.
At ISTE, I did the open, like the bus tour, like the double-decker bus tour, and sat on the top.
Nice. I
That's
have
what I
not
did,
done
and it
that
was
yet,
fun.
but now that I know how to work with my camera, I'm going to go ahead and try that.
It was fun. They took you all the places. All right, Kurt, keep going with it. What
Well,
else you got for me?
Joe, you're wearing a Phillies cap, so is that your favorite Philadelphia sports team?
Yeah, and it's tough times right now. I feel like my son, who's 21 months, is going to have the same Philly bad team upbringing that I did. I had to wait a long time for them to be good, and then that seemed to be over before it started.
So what, you guys won the World Series in
2008.
2008. You know, and it
Yeah.
seemed like you had a dynasty in the making, but it just never happened.
Yeah.
It just fell apart.
Yep. So, yeah.
It started when Ryan Howard pulled his hamstring on that final out. That's what I think, or whatever. What did he do on that final out of that playoff series?
That was the duel between Chris Carpenter and Doc Holliday, or Halliday, I should say. And Carpenter was unstoppable. I'm a Cardinals fan, so.
Oh yeah. Hey, they reload, man. We just don't know how to do that.
All right. So someday maybe the Sixers will come back and they'll be good again. But
yeah.
You know what they need to do, John? John, they need to practice more. That's what they need to do. They need to practice.
Practice?
More.
We're talking about practice.
We're talking about practice.
That's Kurt, my favorite. Oh, yeah. Okay, so that's what you got. Now, I have kind of a question for you that relates to Philadelphia. Is ISTE coming there next year? Is that what I've heard? Is the next ISTE after Atlanta coming back to Philly?
I've never been to an ISTE.
You have never been to an ISTE? Okay.
Never been to ISTE. So it'll be good if it comes here.
I want to say that the one after this year is back in Philly.
I think so.
I think I looked it up for some reason.
Unless there's a Midwest one. It seems like there should be a Midwest one.
There's a couple different Chicago conferences coming up this year. I'm really excited to get back. But I didn't hear about ISTE being in Philadelphia. That's great news.
Okay, well, keep your ears open for that, because I think, and then if it is...
If only we could have all the world's knowledge at our fingertips.
Right, if only we could look that up
quickly. Yeah,
I'm sure somebody posted it somewhere.
I think if it is, Joe, you need to have a hand in helping organize it. That's what I think. So ISTE people, ISTE people, Joe is putting up his services right now. If you need him to go through and find any sessions that need to be approved, or presenters, Joe will handle all that stuff for you.
I don't think they trust me. Both of my sessions got shut down for Atlanta, so I don't think they're going to be listening to me.
See that we're not alone. We're not.
All right, no, here it is. Okay.
It is. I confirm it's in Philly.
It is.
It's
okay.
2015.
All right,
and for you,
we will try again.
For you Spicoli crowd, ISTE 2016 is in Denver. So
nice.
And then ISTE 2017 for the Spicolis, ISTE 2017 is in San Antonio.
Jeez, they don't.
John, are you in Austin?
I'm in Austin, yeah.
I'm going to be in Austin next week at the National Parent Teacher Convention.
You guys should go have a tea somewhere.
Yeah, come on. Yeah. I'll take you out where I took Allison. It's a nice little place. We'll go to the Hula Hut. We'll get some Hawaiian Mexican food and have a drink.
I didn't go to the Hula Hut, did I?
Yeah, that's where I took you, Allison. Or you took me.
Are you downtown or are you in a burb?
Oh yeah.
I'm so far south. I'm North San Antonio. That's how far south in Austin I am. I might as well.
Don't you think you should take him for a barbecue to the?
Okay. You call it, Joe. Whatever you want. We'll go out. We'll hang out.
I'm going.
We'll see if we can find some other people too. Maybe we'll find some people. But,
we have 3 minutes to go. We're going to end on a high note. So things that don't suck. Joe Lindhilt, tell us how great she is.
She definitely doesn't suck.
Yeah. She got me started blogging, just as another fellow elementary principal down the road. When all of us got on here, we found mentors, whether they knew they were our mentors or not. We found them and they inspired us, and she was certainly someone that inspired me and continues to inspire me. And now our little toddlers are buddies. They're not too far away. Went to a Braves-Phillies game last year. Wish the Phillies just crushed the Braves, and it was fantastic to see her leave. So that's fun. It's really cool when your PLN and your family kind of the lines are blurred there, and then your PLN friends, their kids, hang out with your kids, and yeah, so that's one of those relationships that has flourished. So
I know how it is yet. So Allison's daughter and my son, they're going to go to prom together in about 7 years. I think that's how far away they are.
wow,
No,
that's it.
closer than that. Closer than that. 5 or 6 years, they're going to go to prom together. We've already got it decided. They just don't know
That's
yet.
scary.
All right, Composer Skype. What is Composer Skype? Whose is
You
that?
know what, man? I just heard about this. It happened last week when I was in Alaska. One of the teachers in my school, and we're in North Penn School District outside of Philadelphia. It's hashtag NPED. That's what we've been using this year. And this teacher took it upon herself. She's Hoffman Strings. She's a strings teacher at Knapp Elementary School, and she took it upon herself to reach out to a composer. And Skype the composer with her students. And actually, they prepped a song written by this composer, and they played it for the composer. And then he was basically conducting the little, mini orchestra in there from using Skype. So we just started thinking about, wow, we do, mystery Skype. We do Skype this, Skype that. Why not? Have this be even more of a music piece, when you can get, authors to Skype into your classroom, you can get composers, to Skype in from anywhere. So, so that was just one of the ideas we were talking about today at lunch, with a couple of the colleagues in North Penn about, there's plenty of kids in North Penn. It's a huge district. There's 13,000 kids in it. And there's plenty of kids graduating and moving on and having, music scholarships or playing at the university level or even playing professionally. So tapping into some of the alumni, tapping into some people that are out there that might even not be connected to North Penn to kind of give back and help the kids and inspire them and really knock down the walls, create glass walls in our classroom, even in the music classroom.
Very cool. Last day of school, that was me. We had our last day of school with kids today. They got done at noon. So.
Congratulations.
And so here's a good sign though. We had many kids who were crying because it was the last day of school. So I thought that was a good sign that we have a great environment going on at our school.
Totally.
Only 90 days to go, kids, and we'll be back at it.
Can we see your haircut?
Oh yeah.
All right.
Come on, Kurt, let's see your haircut.
Kurt is going to show off his haircut that Dr. Rees does not like.
Yeah,
Really?
Dr. Reese would be my wife, and she didn't go over well.
Kurt, I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, she likes.
She can't take it in because it's virtual right now. Once you get there,
but you know what? She likes the Jesus look that sometimes I wear with the beard and the long hair.
No, it's good. It's high and tight. I wanted to salute you.
Absolutely, high and tight. That's what I agree with too. All right, and then as we were chatting before, Dana Boyd's book, we heard that there's a free download available to it right now. So that's it's complicated.
Yeah. It's complicated and it's free.
Yeah, she's great.
So it's really not complicated.
Yeah, that's the title of the book, not the download process. It's pretty easy to do. The book is titled. It's complicated.
Her name, she's at Zephoria on Twitter, and PT Chat in the search bar. You'll find all. She sent about 80 tweets that night. We did, PT Chat with her 2 months ago. So as far as her words beyond, the book and in 140 characters, there's a lot of great, tidbits there.
All right.
Yeah, that's awesome.
To wrap things up before I kick it over to the closer, John Samuelson. All right, so PT Chat, PT Camp. Joe, one last recap there.
Yeah, PT Camp, register now. There's about 37 spots left. We are going to crowdsource around the world a book chat on Beyond the Bake Sale. Starts June 25th. I'll tweet out the link and include the Techlandia hashtag as soon as we get off here tonight. But if you have any interest at all in building homeschool partnerships, if you don't feel like you're prepared, if you are going to be a new teacher or a new principal, or if this is your passion, if you're doing a dissertation or a master's degree on it, this is certainly the conversation for you. It'll be 6 weeks this summer, variety of ApperNet, Voxer, Twitter, and blogging. It's all led by PT Chat and the Institute for Educational Leadership in DC, IEL Connects.
Very good. That's cool. I'll have to look at ApperNet. I've never heard of that one, so I'll look at ApperNet. I'll get there. And you know what, Joe? We'll get the listly for it. I actually have a day off tomorrow, so I will go through. We'll get this podcast up in a hurry for you so we can get the word out, and I'll I'll take this list, Lee, and we'll put all the links in there for everyone, and I'll work backwards, starting with this one from here forward. Our last episode for a while with the charming and dashing Blue Steel, Kurt Rees. Let's give it up for Kurt Rees as he fades off into the sunset for his summer hiatus. Kurt, do you have any last words?
I will defer to
Kurt is
Allison.
frozen. I'm having a horrible time. I've been trying. Okay, Allison, do you have any last words?
No, I don't.
Allison, don't you remember what you just said last?
No, I'm trying to remember. What did I say they were going to be all the time?
Oh my gosh, Allison. It's Craig Yen. Talk about Craig Yen.
Oh yeah. What did I say I was going to say about him?
Craig, we're so sorry. We'll get this straight at some point for you, and we'll catch you on the flip side. And don't forget, we'll do some Techlandias here and there, scattered over the summer whenever we want, and whenever we feel the need. And Joe, thank you so much for being on here and for offering to come on and share your information with us. We really appreciate it.
Hey guys, thanks for doing what you do.